Nissan is leaning hard into the nostalgia. Let's talk about it right now. The Nissan Hardbody Package. All right, so Nissan's coming out with a new retro package. It's going to set us back a ways, all the way back into the 1980s with this new retro package. They're calling it the Nissan Frontier Hardbody. And it is going to be kind of a throwback to the old 80s, the old hardbody. Now, when I think about the hardbody, here's what I think about. I think about a tough, everyday, low-cost truck. And that truck was a great truck. Everybody loved the Nissan hardbodies. I had several buddies who owned them, and they lifted them, put body lifts on them, cranked up the torsion bars, and just put big tires on it. I think I had one friend who had 38-inch Super Swampers under a Nissan hardbody. Yeah, that was a tough-looking truck. I wish I had a picture of it to show you guys. But this package is going to be on a Frontier. There's a few facts about it that you have to know if you're interested in this package. You can only get it in four-wheel drive, of course. You can only get it in the crew cab and the SV model. So there's not going to be any low-cost models of the Nissan hardbody. It does have a sports bar on the back of the truck bed, kind of reminiscent of the old 80s roll bars that were so popular in the big lifted trucks. It's going to have throwback wheels. It's going to match what the 1980s trucks had. It's going to be, they look pretty good. I think the wheels are probably the best part about this truck. It's going to have black bumpers, and it's going to have black fender flares. Some of the interior accompaniments, they have like leather trim seats and a new sound system, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, if you want this truck, it's going to cost you an extra $3,890 to get this 80s retro theme overlaid onto a Nissan Frontier. Is it worth that? I'm not really sure. I personally probably wouldn't opt for it. I think you could probably make this yourself pretty easily. And like the whole crew cab thing, I'm not sure if like the hard body package matches the crew cab, right? And so the old hard body, it was, a regular cab, or it was an extended cab, or king cab, as I think is what they called it. There was no crew cab back then. And so putting it on the crew cab, it kind of doesn't feel right. But just let me know what you think about it. Are you willing to pay an additional $3,890 in order to pick up the Nissan Hardbody Package? We got some decals, got some paint, black trim, stuff like that. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this package. 5 Dominic 4 said, so cool you got the custom Silverado that actually has the buttons on both sides of the steering wheel. I hate how all the customs now have that little knob in the center of the dash that you have to reach in, and you want to toggle through the options of the driver display. I wish there was still an option on newer customs. I might actually consider one. Is that a 2022 limited custom Silverado? Okay, this is a question about my truck. My truck is a 2022 Silverado custom, but instead of, I called it the blinky steering wheel. The steering wheel on most customs only has controls on one side, and the other side is just a cover. I called it a blinky steering wheel. I feel like it had like one eye closed or something like that. So whenever I was shopping for my truck, I refused to buy one that had the blinky steering wheel is what I called it. And so we found this truck. Didn't have the blinky steering wheel. I don't know if it was anything other than just an order option. I don't think I've seen another custom with the steering wheel controls on both sides like mine does. So I don't know if it's custom, limited custom. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't see that on the sticker or anything like that. But I would imagine that if you ordered a custom, you could probably make sure that that extra steering wheel control is included. So just talk to your local dealer, see what they can do. I don't think that it's something that's really easy to retrofit, just FYI. I don't think that it's something that's, I've seen some people do it, but you have to replace a whole dash cluster. There's some wiring you got to take care of, probably change the body control module or make some modifications to it or something like that. So if you want steering wheel controls on both sides of steering wheels, make sure that you get that option. And if it's not available in a custom anymore, you might have to bump up to the LT. Todd C.4749 says, to use a brake controller and or airbags. We're thinking of getting one of those Kurt Bluetooth brake controllers, going from a toy hauler fully loaded at about 6,500 pounds to one that is about 8,400 pounds. What are your thoughts? Okay, here are my thoughts. This has to do with towing my camper. So Yes, I use a brake controller. Our travel trailer is 8,500 to 9,000 pounds loaded. It's closer to 8,500, I think, based on my last scaled weight that I have for this trailer. It has about 1,200 pounds of tongue weight, and so I know it's around 8,500 pounds, give or take. Yes, most definitely use a brake controller. A lot of these Silverados are coming with an integrated brake controller. Mine did not, so I had to add an aftermarket one. I chose the Tekonsha Prodigy P2. It's actually not my favorite brake controller. I love the Tekonsha Voyager. I've got really good success with that. Probably should have bought one of those. The P2, there's all kind of buttons and fiddling and stuff like that. It's pretty easy to use if you follow the directions. As far as the Bluetooth option is concerned, I would steer you away from that just based on anecdotal experience. I would much rather have something hardwired in, not connected to my phone. And that's just me personally. I'm a diabetic and I have a lot of other devices connected to my phone through Bluetooth. So I don't want anything getting in the way of that if possible. And I don't want like a diabetic alert overriding a Bluetooth alert for towing the trailer at the wrong time or something like that. So I do not recommend a Bluetooth controller if you need to use your phone for anything but a brake controller at the time. I probably don't know everything about that Bluetooth brake controller, but I just want to steer away from it. I want a hardwired device on my truck, and I want it to work right. As far as airbags, don't use airbags on my vehicle. I use a 1,400-pound Kurt weight distribution hitch. And that's pretty well dialed in. After I got that dialed in, the rear suspension was still a little soft. It was picking up the weight and everything was fine there. It just was a little soft, a little wobbly in the back. So what I did is I actually purchased the Sumo Springs Blue. And those have worked great. They stabilize the rear end. And if you have one of these Silverados, just driving around empty, you understand that the rear end's kind of soft. So once you put a load on it, you can kind of tell it a little bit more. So I grabbed the blue Sumo Springs. They've worked great. I'll leave a link down in the description below to an Amazon affiliate link if you're interested in those. But I highly recommend them if you're hauling anything pretty much at all. It says you're going from a toy hauler fully loaded at 6,500 pounds to one about 8,400 pounds. It's pretty close to what I am. So I would encourage you to get either the blue or the black Sumo Springs. I like those a lot better than Timbrins, just for reasons. Maybe one day I'll talk into that more, but I like the Sumo Springs company better. And we'll go from there. All right, Max One Abel asked me a question about motor oil temperature and what miles to change it, 3,500 miles. So this has to do with me towing my camper again. What is the motor oil temperature normally at? And it's usually right around 200 degrees, just like every 190 to 205 is really where all my temperatures pretty well stay. So as far as the motor oil temperature is concerned, it's also controlled by the engine. There's an engine oil cooler. It's very similar to the transmission cooler on this. So that's about what it is. As far as what mileage to change the oil, I go by the OLM, the oil life monitor, and I change it around 50%. So that tends to work out to be about 4,000 miles, 3 to 4,000 miles, depending on how hard I'm towing. Just changing it at 3,500 miles, you can do that. A lot of people like to run these all the way to 0% oil life left, and technically you are able to do that. I just want my truck to last a really long time, and I've seen the inside of engines that have long oil change intervals like that, and I don't like what I see. So I like changing the oil a little more routinely. These oils have a lot of detergents, and plus they are also feeding into the turbo on these trucks. So any of your turbocharged vehicles, diesels, EcoBoosts, these turbos in these Silverados, turbos in any truck or car that has a turbo should have more frequent oil changes, in my opinion. There's a lot of shear that's going on with that turbo. So just be aware of that. It's Jeremiah's opinion on all those things. So that's about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all take care. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all have a great day. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you got anything out of this. If you have any feedback, let me know. I would appreciate that too. So thank you all. Hope y'all have a great day.